Hello and welcome back to the channel Bakucrew. It's Buckerbrad96, back from a week-long hiatus of deck building. It's time to get started. So first off, I thought I would go ahead and make another Leonidas deck build. This is Mark IV, I believe, and it is a Haos Ventus combo strategy, if you will, at least the best that I could make. So if you notice, the setup is a little bit different today. The Bakugan team has already popped out, and that is because this week, for the deck profiles that I do, I want to focus more on the competitive TCG side rather than the figure side. Now, don't worry, my unboxing videos and all other videos, I will focus on the figures like I've always done, but for deck profiles, I do want to try a new format out this week, kind of how I record the videos and do them. So long story short, it's all about the cards today, not necessarily the figures, and going forward, at least this week, that's how the deck profiles are going to be. But with all of that talking out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and jump right on the team, which I do have a sneak peek for everybody. Starting off, of course, it is the main man, Leonidas, double helix core with a B power of 110 damage. On double helix, it is a plus 1400 B power boost. Now this is what we're going to try to be hitting in the deck via comboing with certain cards that I will get into without any spoilers. We're trying to make Leonidas as beefy as possible in this build. Now for the Haos Bakugan, I am trying out the Haos Gillator. One thing to note is I am using a Haos Bakugan with no helix cores. There is a method to my madness, so hear me out. But Gillator has a lineup of Magic Shield or Blue Shield and a Green Fist with a B power of 603 damage. On Green Fist, it gets not only another 400 B power, but also another 4 damage. Now in this particular team, there is only one Green Fist, but I have ways to utilize and steal that Green Fist for myself throughout the game that I will be getting into. Kind of the alternate win condition with Gillator here. Kind of focusing on his buff rather than Leonidas's. So 2 ways to win. And then lastly, for that Ventus element, you are going to need Helix, so Platinum Dragonoid is the perfect contender. It is a double Helix Bakugan with a B power of 904 damage. If you wanted to go with a mono Haos theme, I would suggest the R-less Platinum Dragonoid because it is double helix as well as it has 1000 B power, so it is very strong, and the next deck profile I build will probably be featuring it as well. Now the core lineup is really simple. I didn't want to get too complicated because I was trying to really strategize with my cards a little more than I normally do. So Bakucrew I kind of just threw together. It is going to be 4 plus 300 B power and plus 3 damage, just because I didn't want to take away from either side. I wanted to get as much power as possible onto my Bakugan. Same reason for the Magic Shield, plus 650 B power, and the Green Fist, plus 150 B power and plus 2 damage. Just the best possible that you could get. Feel free to substitute for any Bakucrew that you think are better. Again, these are all just my ideas, and I expect you all to take my deck profiles and build off of them, upgrade them how you wish. Speaking of your ideas, though, as my viewers, I do welcome you all to join my Discord server. Link will be in the description below. It is a great place to talk with the rest of the Bakucrew community, as well as post your own deck ideas, discussions, topics, all that good stuff. I have plenty of categories, and I am currently working to make it a better place. So, right on, join up. Getting into the deck profile though, starting off with those 1-drops. For 1 energy, I am using 3 G-Force drop. Obviously 1 energy for minus 300 B power and scan. So this is just a defensive card. The scan combos with one other card in the deck. Otherwise, it's worthless. I just really like that minus 300 for 1. Following that, it is going to be 3 Super Shot. So for 1 energy, you actually get plus 300 B power. Now in the instance where you're giving an opponent minus 300 and you give yourself plus 300, you could win that brawl, so that's very important. And again, low energy cost does matter. Now a card I definitely wish I had 3 of, especially in this build, is Baku Fetch. For 2 energy, you get plus 4 damage, but that's not all. You also get to draw a card for each Bakucrew attached to that Bakugan. Now, really important, a Baku Fetch onto Leonidas could draw you 2 cards very easily, since the whole point of the deck is to get those 2 Helix Bakucrew onto Leonidas. Kind of some synergy there. But again, all decks got to have that B power boost, so I am using 3 Scarf Strike. For 2 energy, you do get plus 500 B power, and that is solid. It is the Haos version of Chomping Tornado, and we all know how good a card that is. Following that, this deck does have a somewhat ramp or boost strategy. Personally, I think this deck could benefit from having a lot more energy boosting cards. Unfortunately, I don't have them, so as I go through the deck list, feel free to substitute out what you think should be cut. But yeah, as for me, I run 2 turn to energy, which it just energizes it uncharged. A really simple card, really solid. You definitely want 3, but I only have 2. Next up, Consort. Probably the most important card of the deck. For 3 energy, you get to attach a Bakucrew from the field to an open Bakugan. You know, that is everything this deck is doing in 1 card, so why not run it? It's just perfect. But after that, we are getting into the juicy tech of the deck. Starting off, this is Energy Vortex. So it is a Baku gear that costs 3 energy for 300 B power and 0 damage. But when you play it, you get to attach a green fist from the field to an open Bakugan. Now this is important because it lets us move around the 1 green fist on the team. Obviously bringing, if I can grab it, obviously bringing up Gillator, that does combo well with the Bakugan. Does set up for a pretty decent amount of damage and B power, because you have to think on the green fist it gives you 1,000, but plus the 150, that's 1150, and then 3 is 1450 with 9 damage. So I thought 1450 B power with 9 damage wasn't that bad at all for 3 energy. So a cute little combo. I thought it was very well. When I get into the Nanogun though, I can explain the rest of the tech. But for now, that was kind of the idea, just an alternate win condition with Gillator. Following that though, I do run 2 Righteous Strike. Again, you want 3 of these just to help with damage. Cut whatever you want to put it in. For 3 energy plus 6 damage, and you get to draw 1. But trifecta, if your Bakugan have 3 or more Bakucrews attached to them, you may return this to your hand. So that is really huge. Not only can you easily hit that trifecta requirement with Consort, Energy Vortex, there are a few other cards that add Bakucrew, and then just your normal rolling for turn and picking up a Bakucrew that way. This deck will certainly hit the trifecta requirement easily, so you can cycle your Righteous Strikes over and over again and be sure to get that 6 damage. Ideally, in theory, every turn, but I don't know if it would be able to recycle that many times. But once or twice would be right, awesome, right? Anyway, going ahead and moving forward. Now getting into the 4 cost cards, it is going to be 3 Drum Wave. So for 4 energy, you get to attach a Bakucrew from the field to an open Bakugan yet again. So it is a consort for 1 more energy, but it does have the domination effect as well. So if your Bakugan are holding the most Bakucrews after that, that gets plus 3 Frost Strike. This deck I didn't put towards Frost Strike. I know I have done Frost Strike builds in the past, but focusing on Leonidas, I wanted kind of a combo strategy. So that's why I have that in there, and I didn't focus on Frost Strike. Again, it's all about stacking those Bakucrews on top of Leonidas. But I do need a little more power, which is why I do use 2 Light Burst Cannons. Again, you want it at 3. I don't know what you would cut for it, but with my cards, I only have so many, so I have to kind of mess around with the ratios as best as possible. Anyways, Light Burst Cannons, for 4 energy, you get a Baku gear with an armor rating of 2. It gives 300 B power and 3 damage to your Bakugan. Otherwise, when it flips from your deck, you can pay 2 energy to put it into your hand. So it's a Baku gear card that you could potentially not lose. Even if it is flipped, again, you can return it to your hand, and it does have armor rating. So it can soak up some of the opponent's damage. I just think it's a really solid card. Now then, the card that combos or pairs with the G-Force drop in the deck, it is of course Ventus Aerial Trick, 4 energy for minus 400 B power and minus 4 damage. But if a scan or scrounge effect allows you to look at this on top of the deck, you can reveal it to give a Bakugan minus 200 B power and minus 2 damage. Now right in the middle of a game when you drop a G-Force drop on the opponent's Bakugan and you reveal a Ventus Aerial Trick, that is just better, because together that would net you minus 500 B power and minus 2 damage. I think that is a really neat interaction within the deck. And at 3 copies both, you're maxing out the amount of copies you can have. So you can kind of see that combo potentially more than normal. But yeah, just disruption for the opponent that I thought was really good because it interacted. Speaking of disruption though, I am a little gutsy because I am using Bakugan Overdrive. Don't know if this is really worth it or not, but for 5 energy, you are minus 1000 B power on a Bakugan, and then trifecta, if your Bakugan have 3 or more Bakugors attached to them, draw 2. I know your deck total is your life total in this game, which is interesting and awesome at the same time, but the card draw really helps in this build, because you want to see the main cards of the deck. You want to see your drum waves, you want to see your energy vortexes, your consorts. Heck, you even want to see your G-Force drops, if I'm being honest, because that's like your lowest energy cost disruption. So it helps when you can draw through your deck. It could hurt you in that same respect because you draw through your deck, you take away your life total, 1 team attack or 1 attack from an opponent, and you could be dead. So you have to learn the tightrope of this deck, walk it straight, don't fall off. I could say the same, though, equally about the next card I have in the deck, which is 3 Bakuroll. Again, I said this was meant to be a ramp deck, so these 5 cost, 6 cost energy cards make a lot more sense when you realize that I should have more ramp in the deck. But as it is right now, it's like, how are you ever going to play 6 damage, right? I get that. But it's an awesome card. Hear me out. For 6 energy, you get to attach 2 Bakucrew from the field to an open Bakugan. Just let that soak in for a minute. Attach 2 Bakucrews from the field to an open Bakugan. That means, for 6 energy, you can get a full-powered Leonidas right then and there. I mean, I know this isn't a turn 1 combo, obviously, for 6 energy, but paired with something like Air Zero, I know Pyrus isn't in this build, but you can imagine, right? Anyway, though, for this deck, because Pyrus isn't in it, and Air Zero, don't really even know why I brought this up, but if you ramp this card out quickly, obviously you want to get it out as fast as possible. Being able to attach 2 Bakucrew at a time, really important onto Leonidas. Even Gilator's Green Fist buff there, that could go off as well. It also pairs really importantly with the Nanogun of the deck. So I will go ahead and finish off the deck profile because, yeah, I can explain this card a lot better once I get to the Nanogun. So I do use a Gaia Rocket. It's kind of just a filler card. Feel free to replace this with whatever you have. 7 energy for a Bakugan with an armor rating of 2. It gives your Bakugan 700 B power and 5 damage. But when it flips from the deck, you can pay 2 energy to to energize the card from your hand uncharged. Excuse me. It is not a light burst cannons. So that does help with the ramp a little bit, but not a lot. Again, it's just kind of a one-off power card that I use because my ratios are garbage. Feel free to replace it. You can replace these cards coming up as well. I didn't know which flip cards to use for the build. Kind of struggled in that regard. But I am using 2 Stand Strong, 4 energy to block a non-fusion Bakugan, and if you do, put this into your hand. So just a way to like kind of cheat out energy, I guess, because you can play it the following turn, and it does block an attack. And then I have 2 too fast. So 4 energy to block a non-fusion Bakugan again, and then if you do, you energize this on charge. One of the very few ways I have to actually get extra energy onto the field, and obviously that's why I run it in this build. But again, I wasn't sure what flips to run, so you can take these out, mix them and match them however you wish. Same as the Guy Rockets, because again, it is just a one-of power card. But I will move these out of the way because that does it for the 40 card main deck. One thing to note is that I did not run Geogon. The reason I chose not to run any Geogon in this particular build is because I didn't want to hurt the consistency. My ratios were already not exactly where I wanted them, and I have so many 3-ofs in this deck that I just wanted it as consistent as possible for my combos. Now then, the good stuff. So the Nanogun, and the reason behind a lot of my card choices. Starting off with Nano Riptide on a Green Fist plus 300 B power, and then on Magic Shield and Green Fist plus 500 B power. Not very strong, but really basic. You can understand what I'm doing this for. Again, another Gillator combo piece. Put that Green Fist on a Bakugan with an Energy Vortex. Gets off that first output. If you already have your Magic Shield and that Green Fist, you get 500. Or you have a Magic Shield on a Bakugan, you Energy Vortex. That gets off Riptide. Pretty much Energy Vortex is going to set off your Riptide 98% of the time. And that's how you want it. After that is another Haos Nanogun Siphon. So on a Magic Shield, you get to add a Bakuroll from the field to an active Bakugan. And then on a Magic Shield and Green Fist, you get to steal a Bakuroll from an opposing active Bakugan to place on your own. Now again, cards like your Drum Wave, your Consort, your Energy Vortex, all of those can be paired to get these off really quick. You know, a Magic Shield on a Leonidas could hurt, but you could use it to add on a Helix. And then after that, Consort to add on the double Helix, and you have 2 Helix and a Magic Shield on a Leonidas for even more power. That's kind of the idea. Or even Gillator on a Magic Shield, you add the Green Fist, then you steal a core. Just combos. That's why the deck is a combo deck, because I really focused on using the Nanogun and the cards with the Nanogun to kind of get off these outputs more than normal. I'm trying to learn the whole Nanogun extra deck concept, trying to look at it from a competitive perspective. I have a lot of Bakucrew members helping me with deck building right now, sharing their ideas and whatnot, and it is really helping. So the final Nanogun I run, it's a no-brainer. It is Ventus Nano Sludgeum. Why wouldn't I? On Helix, plus 200 B power, and then on double Helix, plus 6. So just helps us with the grind game. Hopefully helps us get B power over on our opponent, especially if they're using their own Leonidas, right? This could come in handy. But that's it for the deck profile. I don't know really much of what else to say. That's pretty solid. I'll wrap up the video there. Thank you all for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments down below what you all thought. Stay safe, drum up, and until next time, Bakugan, brawl.